Jason Trester with Kingdom Coaching, and this is Justin.
Justin Barnett with Red Letter Renovation.
Justin's been a client of ours for a while now, and just want to talk to you and see what made you decide, I guess, to name your company first off, Red Letter. It's an interesting name.
Red Letter Renovation came from, well, it was originally going to be Red Letter Remodel.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't flow super good. We didn't like the way it flowed, and then come to find out, my wife and I, we were talking about it, and then ended up turning to Red Letter Renovation. And the whole point of Red Letter was because we wanted to have a business, a company, that we could bring our faith into. So every day we could operate not only with the things that we love in construction and do what we love, but we get to bring, our faith and the God that we love and worship into our work with us. When you name your company Red Letter Renovation and you have a faith-based company, it's a subtle reminder on every single job. You got to remember who you're working for. At the end of the day, I don't just see you as a client. I don't just see you as a paycheck. I don't just see you as another job. I have to see you like my faith tells me, like my Bible tells me, like my God tells me I have to see you, right? And when I use my hands, I have to imagine that I'm working for the Lord, like the Bible tells us. And so it's kind of that nice reminder to every day, because you can get sucked up in the world. You can lose track of who you are, what you want to be. You can lose track of your dreams. You can lose track of your faith. You can lose track of so much stuff in this just fast-paced, nonstop world. And having a name, and then just seeing it every single day. You see that crown on your shirt. You see that red letter on everybody's shirt. You see your crew. Everyone's representing Red Letter. And at the same time, it's like now you're not only representing your company, you're representing your faith. Yeah. So everything that you do matters so much more. So our presence with our clients, our presence with anyone we talk to, doesn't only represent us, but it represents our faith. Yeah. And so it's that constant reminder to be disciplined and to do everything with the best that we have, and with as much honor and integrity as we have. And then the other portion of why we named it Red Letter is because we like to do our Bible studies. So sending out scripture to the guys, or going to job sites and doing Bible studies with the guys. And not everybody in the crew is, Christian. Some people, they've found their faith. We do baptisms and stuff in the summer. So some people have found their faith and been baptized while working with our company. And some people never have. And that doesn't mean that we don't hire them because they're not Christian. It's just the values that we carry from. It's how we operate as a company, is with those morals and with those guidelines and with that integrity, and that's what we hold ourselves to.
That's awesome. It's good to hear. We kind of do the same in our company too, but we work with business to business, but we don't really push it. But yeah,
that's one of the reasons why we hired you too.
Yeah.
We've seen you were Kingdom Coaching, and I ended up following you on Facebook for a while too. And we had obviously interviewed multiple different coaches at that point, and I was like, this guy really seems like he's on par with kind of like how we are as a company too, and it seemed like a really good fit.
Yeah. I really don't push it. So many people I've met at the racetrack and different places, and they were resistant to religion, and they say once they see how I live, not pushy it, live by examples, how I believe that you shouldn't have to even use your words, that your life should prove and point to God. So it's kind of my approach. I do it most of the time. And so what made you, at what point did you decide that you wanted to hire a coach?
Oh, that's tough, because I'm kind of like more of a stubborn go-getter myself.
Do it myself. I don't need any help. I don't need anybody.
And it's like
men are.
Yeah. And think of all the resources we have now.
Yeah.
We have YouTube, we have books, we have Audible. I can study a book every single day on my way to work, on my way back from work. I can listen to 19 different coaches that aren't you, and I can pay $19.99 a book, right? Yeah. And so the way I've seen it is, I just keep investing in myself in that way, right? But then as I was growing and becoming more profitable, and the company was expanding more and more, there was something, and even the books were telling me, like, you need a coach. Yeah. And I'm like, but you're my coach. You're my coach. YouTube's my coach. But and then they were like, if you really if you really are ready to take that next step, if you're really ready to bring your company from where you're at now and get out of this plateau that you've hit, the biggest thing to reach that next level is hiring a coach. Because I see the company every single day. My partners see the company every single day. My guys see it every single day. It's easier for us to miss things that could be changed. And I guess what really triggered me is knowing that there could be better ways to do something that I might not know.
Yeah.
And that kind of upset me because I'm like, there's so many things in these books and all these things like they talk about, and it's like, why am I not implementing this? How could I implement this? And then they start talking about a coach. And it's like, if you have a coach, they can help you strategically. I mean, because that's what a coach does. They do it for a living. They go from company to company to company, and they do the same thing every day, right? I'm in the company. I can see everything every day, but from my own perspective, not an outside perspective of somebody who has seen this 1,000 times in 1,000 different scenarios. So we got to a point where we were like considering hiring a coach. I considered it, mostly because the books told me to.
Yeah.
And then I was still a little more like, felt like I could do it in time.
Yeah.
Like, I just give me a little bit of time, like why waste the money?
Yeah.
I met with the first coach we interviewed, and it seemed like he had a lot of good advice. He had a lot of good things to say. Although, I mean, sometimes, I guess my biggest issue is I didn't feel like he was very transparent.
Sure.
There were some transparency issues between what I think he wanted and what I wanted, and also the billing seemed really strange with some of the different coaches we met. It was like it just wasn't very straightforward, and I really was like, I don't want to get into something complicating.
Yeah.
Like, I want a business coach, but I don't want it to complicate things. Like, I don't want to have unexpected. I like when everything is calculated and budgeted, and I know exactly what to expect. And because it's already hard enough hiring a coach when you're going to pay $1,000 a week or $1,000 every 2 weeks for a coach, and you have to already justify that cost, and that's the hardest thing to do, is to justify that. And so we start meeting with coaches, and I'm understanding that this is going to be a cost, but then I'm like, is this a good investment? Every time I buy a book, that's a good investment, right? Now, if I buy a coach, it's like buying a doctor for your company.
Yeah.
So I was like, if we purchase these services, I'm expecting to see some really cool stuff. So we started interviewing more and more, and I kind of was a little bit losing. I did lose a little bit of my drive to find a coach, I'll be honest, after the last one that we interviewed. But then when we met with you, it was like, what I really liked is you went through a plan, like on the spot. Like, once we got to know each other, you listened to what I had going on, you listened to where the company was, and then you developed a plan literally on the spot for me that I could relate to, that I could see, okay, so these are the different things that we can do. And then that's what kind of made our decision. That's when we decided, let's do this coaching thing.
Yeah,
because
that's good. I hear a lot of people say all coaches are cookie cutters, same program for everybody. And that's what I'd really try to focus on, knowing your goals personally, family goals, personal, and then try to map out a custom plan just for you. So we can talk about how I guess we had met years ago at the gym, but literally we got on a Zoom call, and his wife booked it. We got on there. I got on there with her first, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm almost to the office to meet Justin," and she goes, and he goes, "Hey, you know who this guy is, right?" And she's like, "No, who is he?" And kind of, I guess you can tell the story, probably say it better.
Well,
it was kind of
a cool thing because when he introduced himself to me, so my wife had set up coaching because I kind of gave up after the last guy, but I was still interested in hiring a coach, but it was still kind of something that I was struggling with, like, is it needed, is it not? Because it wasn't really, I didn't have a strong proposal quite yet. I didn't see the value in it, and I didn't want to necessarily risk that contract without having that value. So my wife sets up a call, and we get on the call, and all of a sudden I'm like, she sets it all up, and I get on, I'm like, oh, this is Jason Trester, and I knew right away who he was, and he was like, oh, hey, and it was funny because it was like probably 8 years ago. I worked out with him. I worked out with Jason at the gym, in a gym in Zimmerman, just one time through a mutual friend. We all worked out together, just a big group of us just working out, and then I ended up following Jason on Facebook, and I watched as his company has coached and as all the things that he's been doing, and it's actually because I typically will follow people on Facebook that I'm interested in what you're doing, because obviously as a business owner I like to see that stuff.
Yeah.
That's what intrigues me. And I was watching all your videos and the content you were posting, and I was like, he's good. And I never reached out, because I never reached out to you. I guess I didn't even think about it. But then my wife did, and then when I ended up getting that Zoom call and I realized it was you, I was like, this could be the one. This could be the person that we use for coaching for sure. Because your content was already good, and I was like, well, if you could bring that to the table for me, if you can help me develop all these things. But then you actually ended up showing me a bunch of things I needed to develop that I didn't even know I needed to develop.
Yeah.
So that's where that changed.
That's good. Same for me. I kind of grew up doing construction my whole life. I think I was 22. I hired my first coach. I had a business partner in a real estate deal. He told me, he's like, I'm not bringing you in on this deal unless you get a coach and use my coach. And I'm like, okay. I paid the $5,000, and that year I think I probably saved $200,000 in taxes alone. So it paid for, obviously the $5,000. So kind of since then, I've always had coaches my whole life, and kind of always, like you said, want to learn more every day, have mentors, coaches. So.
Well, and I think that's one of the big, as a business owner, before I knew much about coaching, before I knew really what a business coach would bring to the table, I think that's like one of the biggest things is we're not necessarily educated on exactly what's going to happen when you hire a business coach.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is because every single company is really so different. And a good business coach is going to develop their plan for that company specific to that company. And I think that's when I found how I found so much value in you and your coaching is, we knew we needed to get to the next level, right? But what you did is you came in and you kind of not only told us, you need to get to the next level, but you encouraged us and said, you're gonna get to the next level. Like this is what you're doing good. And you built us up mentally, first of all. And that also helped with the encouragement. And then and then what you don't know when you hire a coach is they're gonna break down your whole company right in front of your face.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be forced to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. But you have to, because how can you become wise? How can you become a stronger functioning company, have a stronger functioning team, stronger functioning C-level executives inside of your company without breaking it down and really getting to that nitty-gritty? And we don't have the time to do that, right? Yeah. As an owner, I'm not always focused on that. I'm focused on so many other things that I don't always have time for that. And one of the things that has been so helpful hiring you guys too is a lot of the documentation, the SOPs and the best practices and the descriptions that are more fluent in helping kind of code everything to make it so that when I hire a new person tomorrow, that person should be able to come in and see all this documentation, and they need so much less training, so much less of my time, so much less of my team's time. And you don't think about that when you're hiring a coach. You're thinking you're just hiring someone to help you get more sales or be a better owner or something like that. But it's so much more than that. And that's what I think where people get confused on where your investment really is. So what I have invested into coaching in the time that I have had you as a coach, for example, has saved me thousands of dollars, even though I've spent thousands of dollars because I'm not creating these documents. You are. I'm not creating these best practices. I'm not creating these new roles as we're growing. You're creating the ladder for me. You're creating the roles for me. You're assigning them. You're proposing positions. You're making proposals to new people who are trying to get hired and sending. It's just, I don't think that people understand that a good business coach is like a partner.
Yeah, it'll save you a term decades into days because you don't have to make the same mistakes.
Yep.
I've already seen people make it and know how to adjust. And that's one of the things that helps you pivot and move and not be stuck making the same mistakes everyone else makes, where you can speed up the process. Yeah,
and also, I mean, just when you are in the middle of something, like how many times have I called you randomly on a weekend? Like a random phone call, like, yo, Jason, I gotta talk to you about this, and that's when it's like, that's where it has become more than a coaching situation. It's almost like a partnership slash mentorship slash coachship. It's such a hybrid scenario when you're, and I don't know if how every other coach does it. I don't know if this is.
Yeah, most don't do it that way.
Oh.
They give you the description and they do just the bare minimum.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's kind of what I got from the
Yeah.
last guy I interviewed, and that's why it just didn't feel very personal.
Yeah.
And
I believe in over delivering. I give a customer an exact contract,
Yeah.
and I try to do 4 times, 10 times what they want, because I want them to know that I'm a partner, and I am very selective on the people I work with. Because if they're not a good fit, we're not gonna make money together.
Yep.
And when I see one that is a good fit, when I know that I can solve their problems, I want to be a partner, because I know when I help them, that it'll help me, it will help each other. And like you said, it'll be a partnership, and I always believe in over delivering and giving more value than what's expected, and that builds good long-term relationships.
Well, and to kind of ride off what you said, I mean, you said at the end of the day, your goal is to, maybe we're spending money on coaching, but your goal is to make that company make all that money back, and that, and create that kind of that flow, which is where, working with you has been. I'm excited to see, like, after like a year of us working together, but like, you do have to have. Nobody wants to hire a coach if you don't have an ROI.
Yeah.
If you
You're
can't
not
see
some,
your investment, and that's the scariest part as a business, like, because it's not cheap.
Yeah, and a lot of the ones that charge a huge upfront cost,
Yep.
it's just because they know they wouldn't get a repetitive business if it wasn't a large amount.
Well, and
it's a one-time,
that one-time upfront cost,
And then you don't want to even pay your second payment because they didn't even do nothing. We give you a cookie cutter program they give everybody.
Yeah, and I think that the way that Trester companies, the way that you guys are running your coaching it's just so personal. And I think that's the most important thing. If you genuinely want to grow your company or another person's company, you have to think about it like it's your own almost. And there's times where, you send me videos all the time, motivational videos or like coaching videos, or there's constant updates and texts and things I can share with my team. And it's like, as your client, it feels like you're a part of my business. Yeah. As your client, it feels like you care as much about my business as I do, because you're constantly sending me your content, and text messages and documents. And it's like every single week I have this revolving door of new things I can implement and new ways I can implement it. And then I get that phone call, hey, did you see my docs? I want to go over it. And it's exciting because these are all things that when you bring somebody else into your business who's not in it every single day like you have been, and you have those fresh eyes, and then you bring your whole team. Yeah. You've come here with 3-4 people and sat here and kind of gone through with individuals and kind of just like really, at one point there was, Scott was just in our office the entire day. Yeah. Just watching us work, just checking things out, just seeing how things flowed. And it's just done nothing but create such an expedited process in the results of our coaching, is the amount of time that you guys have invested into it, and the personableness that's being added to it is giving it all the flavor, and it's it makes it so smooth, and it makes it so that hiring a coach is no longer a fear. It's not when I see that money come out of my account, and I'm like, oh, just pay Jason. It's not like, oh. Should I really need to do this?
And that's my goal. I want no matter how bad the economy is, I'll be the last thing that isn't paid other than the cell phone. Yep. Like cell phone and me, because value.
That's hard to get though. Yeah. Like you really, and I think it's a combined effort of you and your team, because your team is really on point too. And you guys watch for things you're not even being paid to watch for. Yeah. Like you guys are watching my
Google business.
My Google stuff. Like you guys are watching for things that I'm not even paying you to watch for. Yeah. It's just that constant taking that extra step, making that taking that extra
like it's my company.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what nobody expects to get out of coaching. Yeah. Yeah. But just like it's a job. Yeah. Yep. But it's exactly what I got. Yeah. At least with you, and I'm sure there may be other coaches that have the same structure, but from what I have gotten, this is a unique structure with how you guys coach, and I would never even recommend another coach because I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
Because after working with you and knowing what I get for what I pay, the fact that it's paying for itself every single month, like
it's an investment that makes you money.
It's literally an investment. It's like I'm investing in it, but at the same time, it's almost like you're investing in me.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain because it's like everything I put out, I'm getting back more value than I'm even putting out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a no-brainer
Yeah.
for a company like us, and we're really transparent with our goals, and you're helping us get to our goals, and you're being as aggressive as I would be, which makes me feel even more confident.
What are your goals for this year with your company? What are you trying to do next?
Oh, well.
You said you want to do a church or ministry or something?
Yeah. So our biggest goal was to build the company. We didn't expect it to build so fast. And I think that for this year, we are really focusing on continuing with our growth, continuing to expand our crews, expanding our administration staff, hiring more, building up more, and putting some of the things that you've created for us into play, like the ladders, and really implementing that, because at the end of the day, everything that you've designed ultimately makes our company more profit and gives all of our people, including us as owners, more freedom.
Yeah.
And nobody starts a company to be a slave to it.
Yeah,
you just
goals
don't.
to be able to grow your company and fill in the gaps.
And that's this year. This year is, so when I first met you, I was a slave to the company.
Yeah.
I was working like 7, 8 a.m., midnight, it would just be like nonstop, like 12 plus hour shifts, was hardly seeing my family. And that was not effective. And it's funny now, actually, because with the roles that you've put in place, it's already giving me more freedom. I don't know when the last time I left past 6 o'clock was.
Awesome.
I've been leaving every day close to 5. And it's because I have the systems in place to make that happen, the systems you helped me design. And so I would say freedom is going to be my ultimate goal by the end of this year, and that will give me the time that I need to build the ministry. Obviously, working with Scott at the homeless encampments, going out there, feeding them, being able to donate clothes and food to them is huge for us. Because ultimately, I mean, the biggest goal of having a company isn't just to have a company and have a bunch of stuff for yourself. Mm-hmm. It's, as a human nature is, if I give you something, I'm going to feel so much better about that than if I take something from you.
Yeah, for sure.
And having a business is what better way, how do you qualify yourself more to be a giver than by running a business? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, the idea would be for the next year is to have that freedom and have that cash flow to be able to invest in new things like ministries and shelters and providing for these encampments that we've been visiting. Yeah. Scott and I. So, I mean, I would say that could that be tough to do in the next year? I mean, with how much money that's going to require? Probably. But am I worried about it? Not really anymore. I mean, especially having like what I've already seen with working with you. I mean, I don't see why we can't. I mean, we already, way exceeded what we thought we would in our revenue last year. And now to do that again, I don't see that being a problem with the services that you've offered us, because it's already just streamlining so many things and making everything smoother. And when things are smoother and faster, everything works better. It makes more money. The clients are happier. They actually save money because we don't have to charge as much to do it now because it's so much more streamlined. And like at the end of the day, everybody saves money and makes money. Yeah. Whenever you have it set up like that. And then we will then have the freedom to, expand the ministry, advance the kingdom of God, depopulate hell. I mean, ultimately, that's the goal, is to just stomp on the serpents and snakes. And that means getting your boots on the ground and getting in the street. And I can't do that if I'm not free to leave the business, right? Yeah. But I also need the business to be able to pay the bills so that I can go out and do these ministry
Yeah.
things in different areas. You know, it costs money to, and with ministry, like you have to use your own money for that.
Yeah.
Nobody's giving you that money. I mean, when we go to these
Yeah, we have
homeless
lots of
encampments,
people doing,
nobody's giving you. You got to have your own money
Yeah.
for that, and you know, and being able to build something that can help fund that is my dream.
Yep, same. I'm glad we have the same dream because
Yeah.
Kingdom Coaching's the same way. We have projects. We donate materials to help the homeless and getting people into homes, helping them get their first time home buyer programs that they didn't even know they could get, giving them jobs. So it works great. We have a whole network and community of like-minded people that we all kind of help each other. Even when the economy's bad, we can still have our economy. Like even through COVID, we all still work. We all work well together when we're all on the same mission for God. And like they say, if you're not going towards a goal or towards something, you don't just drift. You're either going down or up. And it's that way with business, with your personality or your life with Christ, and kind of everything we do.